Ross on your left. You know what I can kind of see in the future? Ross's hair turning into Chris's hair, and Ross's hair will be the same. Were you thinking the same thing?
I had the same thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
This looks like a time-shifted match.
Right? Right? We need to get Ross a pair of glasses.
Ghost of Christmas Past v. Ghost of Christmas Future.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
It's all right. Ross with a great beard this weekend, as usual. As both of these players just going to start off with a couple of lands. Ross with a Steam Vents untapped. Chris with a Cavernous Souls naming human, as now Thought Scour is going to place 2 cards into the graveyard for Merriam. And now Ross will draw a card. Both these players checking in at 9-2. A little technical difficulty on our end. We do apologize. It is round 12, and they both have 9 wins and 2 losses, with potentially a loss to give.
Potentially. It's going to be, the cut's going to be funky. So many people playing today.
Yeah. A mountain here for Merriam. And he'll just pass the turn back over to Pikula. Horizon Canopy. Horizon Canopy. Kitesail Freebooter. It is uncounterable thanks to the Cavernous Souls.
Putting it out there like it could be countered.
I like it.
But through the cavern.
Bait him.
Some 1996 kind of action.
Bait him. Rope him in. Dead. Let's see what Ross is working with. Houston, is it Charm to take care of the Freebooter? I got a Manamorphosa, Arclight Phoenix, a Steam Vents, and Opt-in, a Serum Visions. There you go.
A hand that can get 3 spells pretty easily next turn, but not necessarily a hand that can get something in the graveyard just yet.
Correct.
He's got the Faithless Looting in lane number 3, but Manamorphose plus Faithless Looting only gets you to 2. So some big draws potentially.
Manamorphose is where Ross is going to start things up. Looks like a red and a blue potentially floating. It's actually going to be 2 blue, pardon me.
Yeah, he has a land in hand, so he wants to be able to cast the 2 blue cantrips. And if he finds a Faithless Looting, which allows him to do the Arclight Phoenix shenanigans, he can still play a land to get red mana that way.
It's true.
Alternatively, he can sort of just give it up this turn if he wants to, and just play the Swift Spear he drew and cantrip twice. But I'm assuming if he's let off with Manamorphose, which has a lot of upside if you're trying to do an Arclight Phoenix turn, he has bigger ambitions than that.
Well, what's nice is Manamorphose is just a pretty good place to start things and see where they're going to potentially go. Ross thinking Scalding Tarn, but he's a little unsure of himself right now how he wants to sequence against what is an empty battlefield. So not even underneath like any pressure or anything. Steam Vents untapped instead of the Scalding Tarn. Now it's the Faithless Looting. And you have to imagine Arclight Phoenix is going to go to the graveyard.
Yeah, this sets him up for next turn of, something like Swift Spear plus 3 cantrips, get the Phoenix back. And I guess he can afford to be patient and selective here because he's not under any pressure. Pikula has done very little over the first 2 turns.
All right, it's an Ancient Ziggurat.
I guess also part of the reason the Faithless Looting in that spot is because Pikula has seen your hand, hedge off a little bit from Meddling Mage.
Okay. Champion of the Parish is where Chris wants to start his 3rd turn. And the wily veteran will now play his namesake card. Meddling Mage. He'll take 1 for casting it from the Horizon Canopy, and his name is Opt. There's really nothing better than Chris Pikula casting a Meddling Mage, is there?
Naming a card that initially appeared in Invasion.
Right? This is how the game was meant to be played.
Yes.
You think that's the first time he's ever named Opt? No way.
No. No, in that block format, there wasn't a whole lot of Ops, but
Sounds like people had some misbuilt decks to me then.
No, the mana was so bad that casting a cantrip was not like, it wasn't like you got to do it for sure.
Then the mana must have been horrible.
For a gold format, the mana was, you'd be surprised.
All right. It'll be a Monastery Swiftspear and now a Serum Visions. Ross will draw 1, scry 2.
My first PTQ winning deck was Invasion Block Constructed.
Yes.
3-color deck with a surprising number of basics in it.
Oof. No thanks.
25 lands, a lot of basics. My 3-color beatdown deck.
Did you play Beast Attack?
Different block.
What? Oh, that's Odyssey block. You're right. That's my
Yeah.
bad. Invasion block.
Blurred Mongoose, guys, Skyfolk.
So blue-green mana base.
Cavu Titan. Splashing red for Prophetic Bolt, Urza's Rage.
And Guided Passage.
I did not have Guided
Probably
Passage.
not, no. One of my favorite cards.
Yeah. The problem with Guided Passage is that if your deck is nothing but bad cards, they just give you a bunch of bad cards.
That makes it difficult.
That was the problem I had with it in testing.
That makes it difficult.
Guided Passage is cool, though. It's a cool design.
Another champion of the parish. Looking to grow the first one. That'll work. The follow-up. Pikula will take 1. Really good time for Thalia's Lieutenant. Pikula would like to add some counters to his creatures. 1 on the Meddling Mage, 2 on the champions. We got a 5/5 and a couple of 3/3s. Ross needs to find thing in the ice like yesterday.
Yep. Doing a lot of tire spinning right now.
Pikula at a very healthy life total and looking to give some beatdowns. Just the champ. No need for the Meddling Mage.
A little risky here. If Ross has, 2 spells he can cast, as unlikely as that is, you lose the Meddling Mage, and if you unlock the Ops, maybe Ross can get something going. It's a conservative play from Pikula. It's hard to imagine the attack going that badly, but I think he's really putting a premium on making sure that those Ops stay locked out.
We're going to go back over to Ross Merriam now. It'll be a thing in the ice. That's what Ross was looking for. Now, does he have the necessary spells to be able to actually enable this thing? Well, Manamorphose is a good start. Down to 3 counters this thing in the ice. Looks like a blue and a red might be floating here. Yes.
Now keep in mind, Meddling Mage is not Chalice of the Void. Ross literally can't play the card, so getting up to 4 spells might be a bit of a challenge.
The old hard cast Gutter Ball. Don't see that every day. 2 Power Triggers right now on the Swiftspear. It looks like 2 copies of Opt have been locked out here by Chris. So that's a pretty big game. And we'll go back over to Chris now.
Be nice to... Ideally, you would like to get the Meddling Mage up to 4/4 before combat, so Thing in the Ice has no easy blocks. May not be feasible. But absent that, putting enough humans on the battlefield where Ross has to put at least 1 block somewhere is not a bad consolation prize. Looks like Chris is looking at a second copy of Meddling Mage and trying to debate what to name with that.
Lightning Bolt seems somewhat attractive.
No, because if he had a bolt, he would have bolted your first Meddling Mage. I would name
That's true.
I would name Faithless Looting. It's his only path that guarantees 2 spells.
Okay.
If it's drawn. It's also just very powerful.
Well, here comes Meddling Mage.
I feel like Faithless Looting off the top is the easiest way to lose this one.
Faithless Looting is the name. Oh, look at you. You think you're so smart.
Yeah, I'm actually really good.
You're so smart.
I'm actually
Huh?
pretty good at playing the games or whatever.
Okay. Okay, Bugler Rat.
Played those games well too. Didn't necessarily pronounce the cards the right way.
Hey, when I came over, you missed an attack.
That's true. The last round.
Okay, to be fair, we missed an attack.
I think Ross just drew Faithless Looting.
He did.
Yeah. Yeah. Take that with you.
Chris Pikula and Patrick Yes! Yeah!
Oh, towel him off.
Oh, Chris Pikula. You are a national treasure. Wins game. Put him in the hall for that.
Yeah.
Just put him right in finally.
Helping his case for sure.
Wins this game over Ross Merriam. Humans up a game here over Is It Phoenix. Boy, you two, you and your powers combined with Meddling Mage there. Impressive stuff. We're going to go to the sideboard. We're going to start with Ross. He's got 3 Abrades, 2 Ceremonious Rejection, 2 Alpine Moon, 2 Anger the Gods, 2 Dispel, 2 Surgical Extraction, a Spell Pierce, and a Ral. Is it Viceroy?
So I think you got to start with the Abrades and the Anger of the Gods. I'm not sure how he's going to change his sideboard exactly, or his main deck rather. Like, do you get away from the Phoenixes altogether to add that stuff? But I think he definitely wants the spot removal and sweepers.
Other side of things for Chris Meddling Mage, Pikula, 2 Militia Bugler, 2 Knight of Autumn, 2 Damping Spheres, 2 Izzet Staticaster, 2 Sin Collector, and 5 1-ofs, and Offense of the Foremost, Scatic Teak, Dismember, Gutshot, and an Auriok Champion.
Well, the only 2 that clearly stand out to me are the 2 copies of Sin Collector, seem great against a deck with a bunch of spells. Actually don't mind the body and the text box of Offense of the Foremost, but he's not got a lot to bring in here. In terms of what to cut, often in these spell matchup is, Reflector Mage is the thing to dump on. But with Arc-like Phoenix and Thing in the Ice in Miriam's deck, I think Reflector Mage is actually pretty good here. So I think Pikula should sideboard pretty late.
Well, those are the options there for both players. Good stuff there in that first game. A lot of fun between these 2 players as we get ready here for game number 2. Let's take a look at the 2019 SCG Tour Season 1 schedule. We're going to kick things off in beautiful Ohio. Columbus, though, not Cleveland. Team Modern action where you could play 3 copies of this Is It Phoenix deck that Ross Merriam's playing. You could play 3 copies of Humans. You could play 1 Is It Phoenix, 1 Human, and 1 of whatever you would want
Whatever
to play.
decks you got,
Yeah.
just play with those.
And then after that, we're going to go to Worcester for a little Modern action, and then we take a weekend off for the Ravnica Allegiance pre-release, and then the Indianapolis Open weekend. Ooh, Steak and Shake, Noodles and Company, I think.
Nikki Blaine's. Steak and Shake dessert.
St. Elmo's, no way.
No. Overrated. And then in February, we're back here in Baltimore. Standard in Dallas. March will bring you Legacy in Syracuse, the regional championships. Go.SCGBALT.com/regionals for more information as we get a little bit closer to that event. Then Modern Philadelphia. After that, we head to Cincinnati, which will be teams. April, 1 Open. Modern in Cleveland, the land, Ohio.
That's right.
Then May, teams in Richmond, teams in Syracuse, Modern in Louisville. And then that will bring us to the Season 1 Invitational in Roanoke, Virginia, Berglund Center, June 7th through the 9th with Modern and Standard as the invitational formats.
Playmat time. Let's talk about them. For our Standard Open, Classic, Infinite Challenge, and Sealed Spectacular players, Botanical Growth, drawn by Victor Adame Minguez, who will be at SCG-Con Winter next weekend. For our Modern players, it's Starcrowned Angel, drawn by Greg Staples. And for our Legacy players, it is Loftstone Citadel, drawn by Adam Paucap. These playmats, as I mentioned, they're free and exclusive here on the SCG Tour. These were drawn by these artists for this purpose. These are not magical cards, people. With entry into any Open, Classic, Infinite Challenge, or Seal Spectacular package, go to StarCityGames.com/schedule. Learn more today. And you mentioned the land, did you not? Listen up, folks.
The land.
Listen up. I'm going to give you a little insider information. For you Houston Texans fans today, prepare for a brownout.
It's a scheduled brownout.
It's a scheduled brownout in Houston. You thought the hurricane was bad? Not after Baker gets done with
No,
you.
you don't.
Okay? That's what's happening next. That game kicks in 35 minutes. Yeah. J.J. Watt, get you some. He ain't touching Baker today. All right, he'll probably touch him at least once.
Yeah.
Maybe twice.
Give him the old Theismann.
Yeah.
Give him the old Alex Smith.
Yeah, it's not good. It's not going to be good.
Yeah.
Baker looking good right now.
I'm going to be periodically checking in. I'm hopeful that the Giants don't score negative points today.
That seems difficult. To score negative points?
I think they might score negative points somehow.
Who are they battling today?
Chicago Bears.
That is going to be not good for your team.
All right. Well, with a slack-jawed and shoulder-slumped Eli Manning at the helm, just waiting to get hit like a piñata for 3 hours. Standing still, mouth agape.
So classic Eli.
Yeah.
Basically.
Just befuddled, no clue where he is.
Both of our teams are...
Jersey 3 sizes too big.
Both of our teams are underdogs this week.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That sounds like a teaser or a parlay to me. Get at me, Pinnacle Sports. Ross Merriam will play a Serum Vision.
I've always wondered that. Why doesn't he have a jersey that fits? Why are they all so big on him? It doesn't. He already kind of looks like a child, and it doesn't help.
I think it's great. A vial here for Chris off of a Horizon Canopy. He'll fall down to 19. He needs a little cushion for the pushing after all the sacks that he's been taking.
Yeah. I'd rather him just strap a pillow to his midsection.
It's like a parachute.
Right.
His jersey. Because he's always on the way down. Another vial here for Chris. Looks like he may have kept a one-lander. And he has. Champion of the Pair should be coming through that vial here soon as we head back over to Ross Merriam. Mountain. A braid. There will be a response. Let's vial in a champ. See how long that champ stays around as we head back over to Chris. Vial back on 1. Chris could really use land number 2 to be able to start doing 2 things in one turn. Looks like he drew a copy of Meddling Mage. A very potent form in the first game.
Now it looks like he's debating between wanting to vial now or try to maybe trick Merriam, play around a sweeper. Looks like he's just going to wait.
It's an opt here for Ross. Couldn't play that last game. He's allowed to play it this game, though. Looks like he's found an island. This is a Faithless Looting, maybe on the hunt for some Arclight Phoenixes.
I mean, this is typically what that draw looks like.
Looks like he'll place 1 into the graveyard. He's played 2 spells, looking for a 3rd. Island. Thought Scour. He could maybe find another one. Didn't, though. 2 Steam Vents go into the graveyard. And now, Phoenix will come back from the grave.
Ross with his classic Arc-like Phoenix Anger of the Gods post-board strategy.
Combo deck.
Seen that too many times already in my brief time covering this.
You get in your chip shots, and then you exile everything.
Right. Start over.
In for 3 comes the Phoenix. Chris will vial in another champ. Counter on the first champ. Ross has got a bolt. Kill the bigger champ. All right, Pikula will be bringing that vial up to 2, I imagine. And he does. It's time to draw a card. Ziggurat's a nice one. Now he's got a vial on 2 and a second land, so we could see 2 spells this turn, almost assuredly.
Yeah, the classic freebooter plus Meddling Mage setup could be coming.
Chris will take 1 there from the canopy. And now here's a freebooter, couple of triggers. 1 for the freebooter, 1 for the champ. Merriam's hand is nothing special. Anger of the Gods will bite the dust. Thing in the ice and the land is all he's got left over. Worth noting, I think Ross has a Faithless Looting left in the graveyard.
Interesting to see. What do you name from in Pikula's seat? The obvious one is Thing in the Ice, last card in the hand. The choice that I'm interested in is Faithless Looting.
Well, you got it right. You nailed it. You were in lockstep with Chris last time. Let's see if you're in lockstep again.
I'm curious. This is an interesting call here. Because if Merriam's just on lands and the Thing in the Ice, how good is it?
The name is Faithless Looting.
Yes.
Now this one's a little easier because he has a Reflector Mage in hand.
Oh, okay. If he's got
Okay.
Reflector Mage, then it's not close.
All right, tough guy. I'm going to slow you down over there, genius. Ross will sacrifice a fetch land. I know you're feeling pretty good about yourself since last
Thing in the
game.
Ice is the name if it's like, the card's in your hand and it's good. I'm going to name that. Faithless Looting is the name if you're saying, I think your deck's bad.
Sure.
Then you name Faithless Looting.
Got it. Did you play Meddling Mage a lot in your early days?
My first SCG event was a legacy event in Los Angeles,
Okay.
where I lost playing for top 8
Okay.
with BANT cards.
Didn't you play Rock Swarmmonk in this tournament?
I did. Losing to eventual champion Lou Christopher's top deck replenish game 3 playing for top 8.
Lou Christopher from the Denver area of memory
Lives there now,
serves,
yeah.
Yes. An Enchantress player.
Yes. Yeah, he got me. And I played Meddling Mage in that event.
Nice. A couple copies of Thing in the Ice here for Merriam. The Pancake Flipper.
Game 1 just Meddling Mage some loam player's loam. Their deck didn't
They're
work.
dead. Yeah, they're dead. Back then, they were dead. Nowadays, that does nothing.
Right, but at the time, this thing I don't know what I was thinking.
It's a tricky card. It looks good.
It's like people play with Lightning Bolt,
Yeah. 4 toughness.
Nibble Mongoose was popular.
Yep.
Can't touch this.
Has lifelink. Good against
Yeah.
burn.
Yeah. Just smack them around with this thing.
Yep. Horrible card.
Wasn't good, got boarded out a lot.
Reflector Mage.
That's the one.
That's a good Magic card. How's Rock Swarmmonk do against that thing?
Poorly. I would have played Reflector Mage if it was legal.
Yeah, I bet. Champion of the Fair is going to grow up and do a 4/4 now.
So many great people at that event. So many good ones.
What's next here for Chris? Who's got to be a little scared of that Anger of the Gods being played on his squad.
Yeah, I mean, now it's, he's got another Meddling Mage, and he can name, I guess I would prefer to name Lightning Bolt under the assumption that Ross has more Lightning Bolts in his deck than Anger of the Gods, and Lightning Bolt gets Ross to the same spot because he can kill the freebooter.
Yep.
But it's tough.
Chris will take one. He'll go with Meddling Mage, his namesake card. Counter on the champion. And now we'll see what he wants to name with the second one. As here comes the 5/5 champ. He'll name Anger of the Gods with this one.
Okay.
Because that means that if he bolts the freebooter, can't cast the Anger. And if he wants to get to an avenue to actually cast the Anger, he's got to bolt the Meddling Mage and then take care of the freebooter.
And I guess if you name Lightning Bolt, the nightmare scenario is that Ross goes, draw Anger of the Gods, cast it, then cast the second one, and also get your champion of the parish.
Sure.
This way, the worst case scenario, you still have your champion of the parish to show for it.
All right, we're going to head Ross Merriam's way as the metagame breakdown has been delivered by Nicholas Miller. Your most played deck in day number 2 of competition. It's going to surprise you. Trust me. It's going to surprise you. Ross did chump block last turn with that Arclight Phoenix on the large champion because he's just trying to get to a point where his Thing in the Ice is able to transform, upheaval all of these things, get his anger back, and start to move along that way.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that will happen, and it's seeming more and more unlikely as the turns continue.
He needs to draw so many particular cards in a row. And, you know, Pikula misses second land drop for so long, you know his hand's all gas.
And this is obviously a deck there in Humans that Ross is familiar with. He's played it a ton. There's a Manamorphose. He won a PTQ with it at Grand Prix Richmond a few months back, which is why he'll be playing in Pro Tour Cleveland next year. Is It Charm is here. That's going to kill the Meddling Mage that was on Faithless Looting. And this will give Ross the opportunity to play a Faithless Looting. Thing in the Ice is down to 1. And if Ross is able to find a free spell...
Not a terrible consolation prize to get another Arclight Phoenix.
He's played 3 spells, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not bad, actually.
So that's a lot of blocking.
Yeah.
And then you're drawing to pretty much any spell next turn.
Pretty good turn there from Merriam, unlocking Faithless Looting. I see why you wanted to name it. Let's go back over to Chris now. Thing in the Ice threatening to transform into the Awoken Horror. Now, does Pikula have another Reflector Mage in hand? I think he might. In which case, Ross is not going to be particularly pleased, as Pikula will draw a card. And I think I saw, well, at the very least, it looks like he's got a Phantasmal Image too, so Chris is doing just fine. He's thinking about activating Vial first, and he will. This is Reflector Mage. Goodbye, Thing in the Ice. Champion gets a little bit larger. You see just how good Reflector Mage is in this matchup, where it's the kind of card where it doesn't have a ton of things to bounce, because, you know, you don't really want to bounce Arclight Phoenix. There are situations where you'll want to, but it's not ideal. But just keeping Thing in the Ice off the battlefield long enough is really important.
Both of Merriam's critical creatures in the Phoenix and the Thing in the Ice require quite a bit of work on his side to get going. And it's worth it. Obviously, they're very good, but it's hard for him to do it time and time again.
Beatdowns.
Yeah, Chris setting up lethal for next turn plus the Abyss.
Good spots to be in right now if you're Chris. Large champ. Good battlefield. Pretty safe against anger.
Yeah, now he's gotten the champion to a 7/7, so he's even outside the range of double anger.
In case that were to somehow show up, yeah.
Well, just one gets him the second one. If
Oh,
he
understood, yeah.
That wouldn't take all that much.
Arclight Phoenix on chump blocking duty. To Ross. We're also just going to pass the turn back, boy. I have a feeling he's going to take a lot of damage this turn. As Pikula will draw a card. Freebooter time. That's it, folks. Chris Pikula is going to win this game and match here over Ross Merriam. 2-0. Humans decimates Is It Phoenix. And the meddling mage himself is now 10-2 here this weekend in Baltimore. A good